Hey guys, and welcome back to Professor Layton and the Curious Village. We have our objective. Let's search the village for a path to the tower.
I have to say, it shouldn't be that difficult considering it's just like the tower is that away, straight forward, so it's just gonna be, let's just keep going that way.
You always gotta take the geographical mystery out of things, don't you, Richard?
Well, of course, I mean, I am meant to be Layton in this analogy, so it's just like, just got to ruin everything.
The curious pathfinding, Professor Layton.
Truths and lies.
Now, this is actually one of the alternate puzzles.
Make it stop, no!
5 Nights at Layton's.
So, the US got The Sound of Silence, we got Truth and Lies.
This is like that Prisoner's Dilemma puzzle, isn't it?
I believe so, yes, actually.
Layton's apprentice.
Saves the day. I'm a London street urchin.
Kill the other two!
I'm always watching.
That is a really bizarre puzzle the Americans got.
Percy, mate, stick to writing whatever novel you're doing, the mystery novel, stick to writing that. Air more towards the side of mystery than horror, there's a good one.
Well, I mean, the surprising thing is that horror's kind of sort of making a slight resurgence. I mean, considering the popularity of Until Dawn, it's surprising, really.
That is a video game, not a book.
It's a narrative that's horror.
Well, personally, I don't know about you, but I don't want any gameplay in my video games anymore.
Yeah, fuck that noise.
I'm sorry, did you just suggest what I thought you suggested, dude?
Did he just threaten us?
He threatened us with saying, "You've got to bribe me."
Well, how am I supposed to leave the village? The crank is missing. We cannot drop the bridge. We can build another bridge.
A bridge to the stars.
Not one that far. It's not in the council's budget.
That's true. Not many things are in the council's budget for most places, I've found.
I got 2 words for you, in the shape of 2 middle fingers.
Is the key to success.
Oh, that's the type of puzzle that the Layton games tend to throw you in later games. It's like, solve this puzzle. Oh, it was the one thing at the start all along. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's like, this ant needs to travel from this pencil to the pencil at the end. Can you solve this by moving only one, pencil? Yes, that's right, it was the one it was standing on at the beginning.
Oh!
I mean, the thing is that is part of the reason why the later Layton games do start to lag and drag when it comes to the puzzles, because they do start to become slightly obtuse. But
don't get me started on the hint coins and shit in Miracle Mass. Fuck me.
Yeah, you were talking about that on Twitter today, weren't you?
Oh, well, what aren't I talking about on Twitter earlier? But I digress. It's like hint 1. It could possibly have some sort of trick to it. Hint coin 2.
Did you try jiggling the handle?
Hint coin 2. Did you try jiggling the handle? Hint coin 3. I'm sure there's some trick to this. The super hint coin. Here is the method that you would have never guessed without the hint coin.
pretty much. Now, I have to say, I really do like this puzzle. It's very clever.
His butt. He can't reach his butt without getting up.
Well, not quite.
It's the same idea.
It's the same idea, yes, but it's where can he not get in the room?
I'll take it.
Well, actually, no, now that I think about it, if he just kind of reached down behind him and just kind of sat on his hand. Yeah, going underneath the chair, that's probably better.
I mean, if you've been put in a puzzle called World's Laziest Man or whatever, that's gotta be a wake-up call.
It's teak. It has to go to Layton.
Of course, what is teak? I know it's a brand of wood, but what is its properties? What sets it out from the wooden crowd?
It's the wood that makes you snicker more than the other woods.
Okay.
So, teak is a tropical hardwood species of tree known as Tectona grandis.
Ugh, no wonder the archaeologist likes it.
It's a large deciduous tree that is dominant in mixed hardwood forests.
If I had to hazard a guess, when you were saying that, I guess Helldragon would think, oh, that's a Dissidia type of tree.
Fun fact, the word teak comes from the Tamil teku, the Malayalam word teku,
It's okay, I didn't ask you for the tree's life story, right?
which comes from Portuguese teca.
Oh my god, you're still talking.
Of course I'm still talking. I'm trying to educate people in trees.
But we're not interested, clearly. Look, if you're talking about stuff like, here are all the types of guns they used in World War II, then we might actually care.
Ugh.
You know, you gotta know your market, Richie, is what I'm saying.
Oh, of course the American wants to know about guns. How fitting.
Although it always stuck to me whenever when I was in high school and our history teacher mentioned World War II is when people start sitting up and pay attention. And I always thought that was really interesting because that's the era in which they would have some experience with, like with grandparents and things like that, maybe talking about the wartime and that kind of thing. I always thought that was an interesting fact.
My granddad was a postman, I believe, in the Second World War.
Really?
Yeah.
So was he delivering mail to particular hotspots or things like that?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, that's really neat, actually. And I know that sounds completely sarcastic. I actually meant that, though. That does sound really, actually kind of interesting.
It's basically just above civilian level, but it is what it is.
Well, I mean, it's still a very important job to do, especially during the war, because everyone was really unnerved and nobody knew what the hell was going on. And obviously mail was the only way you could communicate properly at that time.
Oh, there we go, the old palm reading technique.
Let's see, I'm going to read my palm here. It seems you have a future with not washing your hands.
Why is Luke getting all, the geography-based stuff?
He's not going to school, so he needs to learn a few things.
Because he needs to find a clue and start creating good puzzles for me.
It is probably something along those lines, actually.
So this final dungeon up here looks pretty impressive, but I'm not sure if Layton is high enough level for it yet.
Well, yeah, I don't think we've solved enough puzzles to actually get into the tower yet.
Yeah, because with it's got an actual puzzle gatekeeper in it, like all the others, doesn't it?
Yeah, you say that. I think we actually have completed enough puzzles to get through it. I think it actually only requires 75 in the end.
Huh.
It's a ridiculously low number. I mean, the thing is that there are 135 puzzles in total in Curious Village, and they got big. They got more puzzles in every single game. There's only about, it's about 110 in the main story for you to complete.
Yeah.
And so it is only about 75 that are obligatory.
It's kind of weird because in the Mario games, the 3D ones, the requirement for how many stars you need to go fight Bowser got lower and lower as the years went. It was 70 in Super Mario 64, I believe. I forget what it was in Sunshine. It may be a little less arbitrary. But in Galaxy 1, it was 60.
I think in Sunshine it was also 60.
Granted, you also needed the grand stars, but it was much lower than the requirement in 64.
I mean, I think that may be in part due to the fact that they've had a weird relationship with Mario and difficulty, and I think pretty much every time there's an interview with Miyamoto and stuff, the issue of difficulty always seems to get brought up. I think people are getting a little bit sick of it now, but...
Yeah, his face just gets more and more haggard as more people are lacking the skills to actually play his games. Look, you just go to Bowser right away. I'm just so tired.
I think I read an interview really recently where Miyamoto and I forget his name, but the guy who helped make Mario Maker, discussing people think the games are too hard. What can we do to placate this audience? Don't placate them. Just make games with difficulty that scales correctly.
That would definitely work, but then I don't think that ends up being quite how platformers in general work, because it works in action games because you're dealing with enemies, so you can scale the difficulty of the AI. But when it comes to platformers, it's the level design and where you're placing your platforms.
Well, you can still scale the difficulty. That way you introduce progressively trickier, layouts and challenges for the platforming.
Or you could be like Sonic 1, where you go from Green Hill to Marble and it just spikes instantly. I always felt that was an odd choice. Like, I think Spring Yard would have been better as the second level, although that had a lot of bottomless pits as well.
Yeah, but Spring Yard was, like, really easy. I only really had trouble with it when I was real young, and I didn't really know how to take care of the boss. But of course, when everybody got to Labyrinth Zone, they just pretty much went, alright, the game is not fucking around anymore.
Okay, now we've seen this particular passage before. It turned up in Reinhold Manor. Like, what is this person making? It's a cupcake? A cupcake to appease Flora after her mother died? We'll never know.
Well, I know Chumley would have hated it. What the fuck is this? I know you're trying to appeal to somebody here, but come on.
I don't like cakes. This has been established.
Mm-hmm. Except he does like cakes. It's a mystery.
Maybe he doesn't like shitty cakes. I can like food, but I've encountered bad variations of said food.
Yep, it's like you say all the time, how Dragon got off standards.
I mean, maybe the cakes all had soggy bottoms, so...
What an awkward phrase.
Soggy Bottom Cake sounds like a funny cover band.
Well, the reason that I use that phrase is because of the Great British Bake Off, which has become incredibly popular over the last few years, and basically the catchphrase for like the first few years became soggy bottom because it was the thing that got criticised on like cakes and stuff.
I prefer the buttery biscuit base, thank you very much.
Well, yes, but Great British Bake Off is filled to the brim with innuendos, so the British public is just like enamoured with it.
That's a great tart right there, stuff like that.
Yes, things like that, and I think one of the ones this year was, I'm well known for my 3 cracked Madeira.
Huh?
Cracks and stuff.
Yes, thank you, Richard. Sir explains it all. Solve this one, Richie.
Give me 1 second.
This would be a lot more fun with someone else.
Although it's going to be solved for me. It's 20.
Yes, we know it's 20! Oh, this was such a fun gimmick to begin with. Oh, I'll just have Helldragon and Richie guess the answers. Nope. That went nowhere.
You should have known.
I should have.
So basically, as the thing is telling us here, because you know that you are going to deal 5 cards, it's basically just your chances out of those 5 turns. So you divide your percentage by 5, which is 20%.
So basically, kids, what I'm saying is learn how to count cards, because you never know when you're going to have to cheat.
This is another... I think I was talking about this in the previous part, but...
Yes, you were.
With, like, the speech impediment and such. Here it just makes her sound drunk.
Well, also, she's just really, really creepy. I mean, she's definitely got a gambling problem, because, I mean, the cards, and she's the one who I was talking about, whose puzzle gimmick is cards, and she's just a weird stalker, really.
She wants that Layton D, son!
Pretty much.
A gentleman goes in soft, not hard.
Richie, solve it.
There is only one way to paint the cube.
Thank you. The dreaded cube.
The dreaded cone.
Oh, that's what it was. Sorry, I was getting my shapes mixed up. Just one.
I remember when they ported the Cube to the consoles. Very simple game, but it got a lot of critical acclaim for being completely fucking confusing.
What a gaudy-ass cube.
Yes, but they're the ones who stipulated that it needed to be painted with 3 colours, so...
Oh, it was painted Pixar colours as well.
Oh, yeah.
Same colour as the Luxo ball.
What a weird comment from Luke. I could do that standing on 1 foot. Alright. I don't know how that will hinder you, but sure.
He's a kid, he doesn't really have any sense of scale, in terms of like, oh, I'm gonna brag now.
I mean, the thing is that he should have a knowledge of a sense of scale, considering the entire events of the prequel trilogy, because, my god, some of the insane stuff that goes down in that prequel trilogy is bonkers.
Well, you see, the thing there is, Richie, they hadn't actually, written the prequels when they created the game, so it's a Nomura kind of situation.
Luke, it turns out we need the Masamune to cut this in half.
Huh? I know who that is.
She's got homeless puzzles.
Well, I'd rather not say.
She sounds like she smoked 50 packs a day.
Yeah, I don't think they ever really got voice acting right throughout the entire series. It's bizarre.
I'm gonna censor that, by the way, because she just blurted out who it was.
Oh, come on, it's so obvious.
Well, I'm just gonna cut it out so there's an awkward pause.
Oh, wait.
Creepers! Creepers of the Jeepers variety.
Oh, that was an awkward back and forth.
She dropped her Willy Wonka ticket.
Invitation to the puzzle parade.
Oh, the Ferris wheel.
Ferris wheel probably has a fucking puzzle for us to solve too.
Oh, does it ever?
It definitely does, and are any memories coming back yet, Tom?
Yes, many. I'll have another Illusion to Miracle Mask when we get there, don't worry. I'm only bringing it up because I'm playing it, at the time we're recording this commentary.
Well, I mean, it's fine. I mean, if I was playing any of the other Layton games at this present moment, I would also be bringing them up regularly.
What an anti-nefarious thing to say. That's right, Layton, go to the park!
What was that, Luke? Nothing! You heard nothing!
Take a ride on the swings, go down the slide, order a 99 with a flake.
Once you acquire the Coney dog, you'll find that your dog has been cooked!
Richie's just mad that he can't join in this kind of frivolity.
Well, no, it's more
No,
just...
he doesn't want to. He's just, free of the sanity,
Yeah, he's classically trying, whatever. But it does not feel like we've solved 90 puzzles.
It doesn't. It's insane how quickly this game does go, because, for some bizarre reason, when you're playing it, it feels like time is going quite slowly, and kind of...
Which is a benefit to the game's atmosphere, I'd say.
Oh god, yes. But then, when you kind of shrink it down to just look at how quickly you are going through it, it's only about a 5-6 hour game in length if you know exactly what you're doing. Which is insane.
And if you don't, it's 8+ hours. One of those is just walking about, looking for hint coins.
Oh, Polly, what are you mad about now? These goddamn I gotta wear shirts all the time. I just don't even like my natural maleness. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I've had it with V.
Wow, that is the very definition of entitlement. Oh, I came up with a great idea, but there's no one around to hear it. Write it down and mail it to someone who gives a shit.
Yeah, why don't you get a pen pal? I can't believe it's been the 5th time I've written you!
It's like me trying to get Mexi to come on for commentary recording.
Ooh, there we go.
Wow, same exact reaction and all. Yeah, that's right, it's D.
Fun fact, this is another of the puzzles that change depending on whether you're playing the US or the UK version.
What, could the US just not comprehend the idea of a gun?
Yeah, no, we grow our meat.
Well, no, because the thing is that the US version came out first, so they changed it for us in the UK for some reason.
What was the US variant of this puzzle?
So the US variant was that you have a sort of a square. So it says you have at your disposal a large number of tiles, like the one shown below. If you were to take these tiles and try to make a square, what is the fewest number of tiles that you would need? And it gives you the measurement. So it's basically a maths puzzle.
Oh, fuck that noise then.
And if you want the answer for that, it is 20 tiles.
Oh, not this bitch again.
You're always out looking for people, Professor.
It is kind of funny that at night we saw her standing alone on a street corner.
Don't judge, Helldragon.
Oh, I'm judging her. I'm judging her right now, as a matter of fact, for several different reasons.
You can solve this one then, A or B, just guess.
B.
You are actually correct, yes.
Like, I was trying to do the math and I realized it's probably one of those fake-out kind of puzzles.
Oh no, it is entirely, you've just got to do the maths, because if you went with option A, you'd have 100,000 the first year, 120,000 the second, 140,000 the third, and the other one it's 105,000, 125,000 and 145,000, so you will end up being ahead pretty much constantly.
I would ask where that guy was working, but I could probably narrow it down to not doing Let's Plays.
I'm gonna fucking knock the shit out of you. Like, honest to God.
I'm gonna hit you across the head with this houseplant. By God, it's over. The beret is down. Stop the match.
Now, I believe that we are going to have another water pitchers puzzle.
Ah, yes.
And the liquid pouring puzzles are kind of one of those ones which are very common, basically.
Didn't we say it was the Tower of Hanoi in pretty much all but name?
Well, then it's not really the Tower of Hanoi, is it?
Alright, Mr. Pedantic Man.
It is the same logic that you need to use in the same thought process, but I was slightly incorrect in saying that that is the basis for this, because it is a separate thing.
So, I guess he has like this cursed measuring cup, because you would think his first priority as a chef would be to have equal measuring cups, but his cup seems to be growing, shrinking, dividing into 2, dividing into 3. I don't know, maybe it's part of the Curious Village, maybe he's just delusional, and that's probably possible, and I'm not even here right now, because I'm a part of that.
That's not water in those cups.
No, it's like blue Kool-Aid.
Okay, do you guys want to hear a sort of... This is probably going to sound completely nonsensical to anybody who doesn't understand math, and to be perfectly honest, I don't understand it myself, but
Go
it's a fun
ahead.
fact. So, if the number of jugs is 3, as it is here, the filling status after each step can be described in a diagram of barycentric coordinates,
Huh?
because the sum of all 3 integers stays the same throughout all of the steps. In consequence, the steps can be visualised as some kind of billiard moves in the clipped coordinate system on a triangular lattice.
You're losing him. He's dying. He's dying, Richie.
He's dead, Jim. Sorry, I heard the word barycentric and just started thinking about Game Grumps, I'm gonna be honest.
That's pretty... Really?
Yeah. I am but a simple man.
Hey, maybe you could edit that out next, too.
Maybe next time just buy another picture or whatever.
It would certainly help his problem, but I don't think he's ever going to do that, because he doesn't seem quite that clever.
Well, if he's not clever, then what is he doing running a restaurant? You know how many restaurants fail within their first year or so?
Finally, some flowers for that flower vase.
It'd be great if you just gave him the look, here, hold them.
We're not done yet?
Nope, I believe that this is the oranges and apples puzzle.
Oh, this one. There are a few instances where we had to re-record puzzles just because, well, my touchscreen on my recording device has seen better days because I've recorded so much stuff. And, yeah, just... I'd like to do things perfectly when it comes to these sliding puzzles, and it just was not being very intuitive at the time.
Apples to oranges, isn't that like a board game or something? Or is that apples to apples?
I think it's a card game, actually.
Card game, board game, there's some fruit involved. I don't know.
Now, I mean, the thing with these particular sliding puzzles is that Tom's difficulty with sometimes missliding isn't always... well, wasn't always his fault, and if you do kind of slightly just come off the screen, then it will cock up slightly. But there's a slight kind of lag whenever you move the boxes.
Yeah.
So sometimes it won't quite do what you want it to do, or it will... the stylus will lose contact and gain contact in a split second, which makes you lose a move, basically. So it is the fault of the game every now and again.
We are terrible.
I'm solving this right now, you can't tell.
Exciting gameplay. Yeah, this is Hell Dragon playing right now.
Yeah, just using my mind, my stand power to Affect pre-recorded footage.
If you can't figure it out from here, I weep for you.
And move that down there. There we go.
There we go.
Thank you.
You're a fraud!
Layton knows the truth.
Oh, that's so close to 3,000.
Oh yeah, that's something that becomes rather annoying right at the end, is that you don't get an even number of pick-rats by the time you finish the story, and it is the most frustrating thing I have ever experienced in my life.
Those bastards.
Who decides that? Like, I'm just gonna not put an even amount of points in this game. You get like 39.55. There you go.
Yeah, it took me the longest time to notice that that's not a thing on, like, his collar. It's actually just a buck tooth.
Yeah. And this is the puzzle that is based on the 8 Queens that I mentioned, I think it was in the last part.
Yep, and there's going to be a few of these all in a row, so get ready.
I mean, I do believe that they unlock a little bit earlier, at least you may be able to do them earlier, but we chose to do them right now.
Yeah.
So does anybody want to know the history of the 8 Queens puzzle, seeing as we're here?
Go on, then.
So, a chess composer called Max Bezel published the 8 Queens puzzle in 1848. Then a guy called Franz Nauck published the first solutions in 1850. And then he extended the puzzle to the n queens problem, which basically just means that you can have n queens on a chessboard, n by n squares.
Another puzzle solved.
So it's basically just any number, it can be as big a chessboard as you like.
Here's a question for you, something a little bit more interesting and to my taste. Which country invented chess?
Give me 1 second.
I could find it on Wikipedia quite easily myself. I wanted you to tell me.
Yes, I don't know chess that well, unfortunately.
But you're British and clever.
I mean, what Wikipedia is saying is that, well, nobody quite knows who invented chess, but I think it's believed to have originated in India sometime before the 7th century, and because there's a game called Chaturanga, which is also the likely ancestor of Shanki and Shogi.
Well, they all begin roughly with C, so that's good enough for me.
Yeah, and apparently the pieces kind of took on their current form in Spain in the late 15th century, and then the rules were finally standardised in the 19th century.
The only chess I really know about is Chess the Musical. Have you guys ever heard about anything? You might have heard One Night in Bangkok. That's probably the only chess song I actually, listen to regularly. It's actually a pretty interesting musical from what I read about it. It's basically a fictionalization of a chess champion's exploits to win this chess championship against this Russian guy that I don't have the name of, and I know that's really offensive. But, check it out when you got a chance. It's pretty good.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is that because I am a massive musicals geek, I was watching a old BBC documentary on the story of musicals, and the music is done by the guys from ABBA, Benny Andersson and Bjorn Ulvaeus, and the lyrics are done by Tim Rice, who is probably most well known for his collaborations with Andrew Lloyd Webber, who is the kind of main guy who did musicals and still does in the UK. Though obviously times have changed, and he's never been quite as successful as he was kind of around the 80s.
We should get Andrew Lloyd Webber to have done the music for Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. That would have been an interesting one. You heard about, the notes, before that, ahead of time, before they did, the big revision. They got in Julie Traynor, I believe her name is. She was responsible for, The Lion King, things like that. And she just took it in, this weird cosmic... And I'm not against changing some of the whole Spider-Man mythos kind of thing, which it was just in this weird, funky direction that I don't think really kind of settled with anyone, and then eventually became the whole more tongue-in-cheek, traditional kind of superhero story, heavily retooled to that end. I think maybe if they had worked with it a little, they could have made Trainer's vision work, but I think it just took way too many liberties. Also, apparently the geek chorus was kind of a dumb idea, and I can see why.
Thank you, this has been the history of chess and musicals.
Okay, I'm done fucking around. You've solved my chess puzzles, now I'm gonna have to get serious on you guys.
Yes, he takes off his wig and boom, it's actually Wesker.
He's got a cannon underneath his hat. Well, that's a little bit excessive, don't you think? I don't care.
Well, no, that little, I think it's a draft piece. That holds a small switch which will set off a bomb which will destroy Saint Mystere.
Well, that would have been an interesting climax compared to the one we get.
I'd like the climax of the story.
No, I like it too. I'm just saying that. It's a bit different than just, I'm gonna set off a bomb with a switch in my hair.
I just want to say, all these puzzles are bullshit. You can't have more than one queen on any given side of a board.
Incorrect, you actually can.
Huh?
It's kind of nearly impossible to get to, but basically, because if your pawn gets to the other side of the chessboard, then it grows into a queen.
Huh.
So it's like King Me, essentially, from checkers, but it's more Queen Me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really difficult thing to do because most of the time your pawns get used up almost immediately.
Well, that's why they're pawns.
Yeah, but if you can get your pawn to the other side of the chessboard, then you get an extra queen, and the more pawns you get across the chessboard, the more queens you can get.
Well, that's completely obvious now that you're explaining it to me. What I had in my mind was horsey goes in an L shape, rooks can go like, straight along the board and straight forwards and such, and the bishop guys, they go diagonal.
Stop laughing at me!
There's that bloody Ferris wheel in the background, towering over as much like the tower itself.
Pretty much. And fun fact, we are only 2 puzzles away from solving 100 puzzles.
Yes! A nice round number, finally. But we have come to the end of this part of Professor Layton and the Curious Village. Please join us next time, where the fun has just begun. And also the fun fair. See you then!